conversation with her about their shared love of beagles, and Meghan told her the dogs' names directly before the royal wedding, before any of the secrecy Eamon is complaining about. So the supposed scandal isn't that Meghan is cagey by nature. It's that once she married into an institution obsessed with controlling image and information, the institution's own instinct for secrecy got projected onto her personally, and the press decided that was suspicious rather than standard operating procedure. Kate Williams, to her credit, pulls the frame back historically and reminds everyone that nearly every person who marries into the royal family goes through a rough patch. She brings up Prince Philip being smeared as a Nazi sympathizer despite fighting for the Allies, and of course what happened to Princess Diana, and even the early tabloid treatment of Kate Middleton and her family. That's an important point, and I want to give Professor Williams her due for making it, because it establishes that outsider scrutiny is a pattern, not something unique to Meghan. But then Kate Williams says the line that actually matters most in this entire segment. Of everyone who has gone through that initiation, Meghan Sussex has had it worse than any of them. She's criticised for things every other royal has done without comment. That's not my opinion as the host of this channel. That's a royal historian on air, on British television, stating it as fact. And then the conversation gets to where it always eventually goes, because Eamon, credit to him, actually asks the direct question. Does being American hurt her? Does this come down to race? Lainey doesn't hedge. She lays out the timeline plainly. The very first time the public even found out Harry was seriously dating Meghan was because Kensington Palace issued an unprecedented press statement condemning the racist and sexist undertones of the coverage and the harassment of her privacy. Let that sink in. Before the engagement, before the wedding, before a single controversy about dog names or Wimbledon security, the palace itself was on record saying the treatment of this woman was racially charged. That statement is the actual origin point of this entire dynamic, and it's astonishing how often it gets left out of both sides, framing like the one Eamon opened this segment with. Lainey goes further and names specific patterns. Commentators describing Meghan's mother and her upbringing with language like straight out of Compton. Reporters reaching for the word outsider in ways they never applied to Kate Middleton, who was also a commoner marrying into the family. Professor Williams backs this up too, talking about what she calls unconscious bias. People insisting they're not being racist, while simultaneously treating Meghan as fundamentally different, other, suspect, in ways that have nothing to do with her actual behaviour. What I want you to notice, though, is how the panel still can't fully commit to its own conclusion. Even after laying out a textbook case of disparate treatment, Eamon pivots straight back into, well, what about the mistakes, though? Bringing up Wimbledon again, like it wasn't already addressed. And there's this reflexive move throughout British media coverage where every acknowledgement of unfair treatment gets immediately hedged with, but surely some of the criticism is valid.
Welcome to my live.
That instinct for a second, because
Today
it's
is
exactly the mechanism
that lazy Saturday.
unfair criticism keeps circulating
Just
indefinitely. You can hold two things
lazy
true.
Saturday.
One, there is a difference between fair
Woke up
critique of
late,
public spending and
preparing
personal race-inflected hostility.
breakfast,
And two, almost none
though
of what
very late.
Meghan Sussex in this clip is actually the
Uh,
former. Lainey makes that distinction herself,
yeah, I'm
but
here.
she says
Welcome,
she
welcome,
thinks there's a
welcome.
completely
And
valid
remember
conversation
to
to be
give
had
my
about
live
royal spending
a super
abroad,
like.
pointing out that William and Kate also spent heavily
I'm
renovating Kensington
listening.
Palace. And
I'm
nobody is
actually
demanding
watching.
they justify every receipt in the tabloids
I,
the way
I
Meghan
get,
is expected to.
I have so
The
much love
spending
for
critique isn't sincere, whereas
weirdly
even
for British
because
media
British
tabloids
the spending was
and
never
how they
very
like
point.
to criticize the Duchess, Meghan Markle. I don't know why they like to, to criticize this beautiful lady. Although I can see they are coming around, yet they wanna, some are believing. Hello, Jose Macrame, how are you? I see you. Thank you for coming. You good? I'm watching stories of Duchess Meghan and the British media and how they like to criticize the beautiful lady, Prince Harry's wife. I don't know why they like to criticize this beautiful woman. I don't know why they like to criticize her. She goes about her duties, not minding anyone. They are all over her space. Sometimes I tend to think like 90% of British media study diaries. How are you? How are you, study diaries? Like I'm saying, today is a lazy Saturday. Just woke up, having my coffee, and I thought I should catch up with my online community, see, and just chat. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you for the like. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm doing a very short. Jose, what are you saying? What are you saying? Thank you, Jose. Thank you. I'm just here. Just watching British tabloids and how they like to bring down the part of the royal institution, which include Prince Harry and his wife, Meghan Markle. I fail to understand why they hate this beautiful woman, a very good lady, until ever since they stepped down from the royal duties, they've been really attacked. They've been really attacked by the British tabloids. But somehow I see a turn of events, because I can see some people are starting to believe some of the things that were said there before were lies. Some things that were said about Duchess Meghan Markle, the British media is starting to see there were lies told earlier, and I can see they are coming around. Because somebody like Prince Harry has been going on doing great things, like the Invictus game, giving hope to the injured soldiers, a noble cause. He was recently awarded. Meghan Markle is also doing a podcast, cooking podcast. She was also nominated. So I can see the people who are being attacked, they are going on with their lives, doing great things to change lives. So sometimes I think any media is good, bad or good, any media is good. If you decide to tarnish somebody's name, it might work for them. And then you remain there wondering what happened. So I'm happy the British media, or rather the British tabloids, I call them sometimes, because they just tarnish other people's names. I don't know why they hated Meghan. I think they grow up knowing maybe their daughters will be married in the royalty. So when Harry brought a mixed girl in the royal institution, I think women were really pissed off, because I see women are the most involved in attacking Meghan Markle. I don't know, my take on this. I see mostly it's the women who attack Meghan Markle. The British women are the ones who attack Meghan Markle. I think, personally, I tend to think they were brought up believing someday they might be married in that royal family. So when Harry decided to go otherwise, when he decided to go a different route by bringing a black girl in the farm, it really destroyed them. And hence they started attacking Meghan Markle. By the way, that is my own opinion. I don't know what you think about the whole issue. Jose McCrem. Like I said, it's in the morning. We are having our breakfast. I'm having my coffee. Some are having porridge. Some are having milk tea. Yolk. Hmm? Oh, ungesema tuko ona Sam. Sio 90 ulibakisha utubaie mchele tukule na hiyo nini? Hiyo 90 ulisema ulibakisha jana. Si tubaie mchele tukule na hiyo. Jili hakuna breakfast by the way. Mwambie.
anticipation in your spirit. You talk like it's going to happen. You act like it's going to happen. You're on the lookout. That expectancy is your faith being released. All through the scripture, we see this in David's life. He said, surely goodness and mercy will follow me. He was expecting God's blessing. In Psalm 27, all kinds of bad things were happening to David. Violent enemies were chasing him. People lying about him, falsely accusing him. Yet right in the midst of it, he said, I am confident I will see God's goodness. David not only prayed, he not only believed, he took it one step further. He went out looking for God's favor. Like David, you may be facing difficulties. In the natural, it doesn't look good. But when you're waiting with expectancy, you're not moved by what you see, you're moved by what you know. Psalm 112 says, when darkness overtakes the righteous, light will come bursting in. Notice God used the word bursting. He didn't say it's going to trickle in, it's going to barely get there, it's going to show up little by little. No, God said, suddenly things will turn around. You may have been dealing with a situation for many years, but suddenly you're held up free. Suddenly the right person will show up. Suddenly the legal situation will resolve. The right way to wait is not, oh God, this is never going to change. This financial difficulty is going to be the end of me. These kids are going to drive me crazy. No, get up every morning and say, God, I'm expecting your light to come bursting in. I'm expecting a sudden breakthrough, a flood of your favor, a flood of healing, a flood of restoration, a flood of promotion. You wait with expectancy like that, and you'll see God show up and do amazing things. I know some of you have had tough times. Maybe you had a bad break. Now you've settled where you are, thinking you've reached your limits. This is as good as it's ever going to get. So you've got to kick it into a new gear. Get your expectations up. Proverbs 13 says, trouble chases sinners, but blessings chase the righteous. You are the righteous. What should you be expecting? Trouble, bad break, heartache. No,
transformed on live national breakfast television into a courtroom. Piers didn't just comment on the Highgrove meeting, he put Harry on trial for it. The verdict delivered before the defence even got a word in. 5 years of trashing the family. A demand, his actual words, for Harry to get on bended knee and deliver a proper grovelling apology. As if walking through the door to see his father wasn't reconciliation enough. As if love, in this telling, needs to come with a receipt attached. So let's actually talk about what Piers said, word for word. Because once you hold his argument up to the light, the gap between the story he's telling and what's actually true, that gap is the whole story tonight. But first, let's have a listen to his argument.
There's lots more of today's top news stories on the road with Ashley James, Nick Barry, and of course Piers Morgan.
He's here apparently on a massive charm offensive. The only problem is he spent the last 5 years not being charming, but being deeply offensive about the royal family and about the monarchy. And we see the consequences of that in the second topic that we're going to come to, which is about the falling popularity of the monarchy in this country, particularly amongst young people. And I blame entirely not entirely, because I also blame Prince Andrew for a lot of this, but I think what Harry and Meghan have done is damaging the reputation of the royal family. This is now manifesting itself in the polling about the royal family and the monarchy, and that's why I've been so against what they've been doing for so long. This is the reality.
Reconciliation can only happen if steps are made. You're a dad yourself, you've got grown-up sons, you've got a younger daughter as well, and there will be fallouts along the way. It's such a public relationship, and as you say, he's been very open about where he is in that sort of situation. But this potentially could be positive for them to be able to...
I mean, look, they spent 5 years enriching themselves in California by trashing their back. You can't get away from it. So yeah, he can come back and he can do a bit of grovelling and he can do a bit of charity work and he can get his checkbook out from the ill-gotten gains he's made from trashing his family. Don't expect me to get the bunting out and go, oh great, Prince Harry back after basically bringing the royal family to its knees whilst Prince Philip was dying, whilst the Queen was dying. You know, a lot of damage has been done. I hope in that meeting with his father, he got on bended knee and issued a proper grovelling apology. I suspect he didn't, but he should have done. And if that was one of my sons who'd done that to my family, that's what I want him to do.
Ashley?
I think, you know, we're both parents, we're all parents. I think this is amazing on a personal level because I think it was really sad, you know, when King Charles was going through his cancer diagnosis, Harry not even knowing what was going on with his dad, and that really broke my heart. So I think on a personal level, this is only amazing news and we should celebrate it. And from the royal family, Prince Harry never stepped back from royal duties because he didn't care about his duty, and I think he has shown, not just while he was in the royal family, but since, he has continued his amazing work with the Invictus Games. He's consistently shown his dedication to veterans, to servicemen. He has done so much for mental health, for his charity
What's
work.
he done for the mental health of his family, do you think?
Well, the thing is,
I'm serious. I mean, you're painting this idyllic picture of this heroic character. He has renounced royal duty. He's renounced royal duty. He's kept the royal title so that he can continue to make money out of being Prince Harry.
make money.
And my thing is that you can't have your cake and eat it. The Queen was very much you're either in or you're out. What he wants to do is cherry pick certain things that make him look good and make himself very rich off the back of being a royal. And I'm afraid I'm not buying the whole, oh, isn't it wonderful that Harry's back?
Can I talk
Not
something?
really. Not at all.
Thank you. So, Prince Harry stepped back because he felt like there was relentless media intrusion, your mouth being one of those mouthpieces. And
But I'm more or less intrusive than he's been in his own words.
also, let me talk now. Let me talk now.
Well, come on. Talk about royal intrusion. The most intrusive person into royal privacy ever has been Prince Harry. With his book, with his Netflix series, with
He
everything.
watched his mother die, and we are all our hearts broke watching him go walk in her funeral. And he did his best to protect his family, to protect Meghan. He was very open, asking people to stop criticising her, and he felt that it was damaging his family well-being. I think Prince Harry is an amazing asset to the royal family. I think he would actually do so much to help modernise the institution. He shows that it is okay to talk, and I think him and his wife face and not feel like he had to speak for
What about the
the king.
vitriol he dished out to his family? Unbelievable.
So Nick, I've got a question for you. Do you think, like Piers said, he has been responsible for destroying public opinion on the royal family? The National Centre for Social Research has conducted a survey that has found only 51% of people feel the monarchy are quite or very important.
In fairness to what Piers said, he also brought in Prince Andrew, and we must get back to Piers in a moment. I would suggest, and there is no measure by which we can gauge this, I think the damage done by Andrew is far more grave than what Harry has done. Harry hasn't helped, unfortunately, and I think a lot of wise commentators said when sadly we lost the Queen, we wouldn't know what we've lost until it went. She did have this extraordinary aura for young and for old, that, and I respect everything the King does, but clearly, according to this survey, they are not matching one in the same way. But I think the real issue, as Piers rightly said, let's not forget what Andrew has done. I mean, that is a grotesque manifestation there.
But Piers, I mean, it has been dropping fairly regularly until we actually did the CNN and we covered the wedding. Remember when it was, and then it got boosted up again and popularity went through the ceiling. What do you think they can do to turn this around?
Well, they could stop behaving like Prince Andrew has done in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. I think that was very damaging. And they can also stop amongst themselves, again, talking about Harry and his wife Meghan, they can stop trashing the institution of the monarchy, calling it a callous, wasted institution, and then backtracking from that once the damage has been done. I think it's very difficult to underestimate the damage that was done to the reputation of the monarchy worldwide from the allegation that they were racist, the royals, about the skin colour of Harry and Meghan's upcoming baby, as it was then. You know, they later tried to say, we didn't mean that, we didn't mean that. The damage was done. That went round the Commonwealth, and a lot of black people around the world went, wow, we are now hearing from somebody inside the royal family that they're racist. Do you not underestimate the damage?
And also, I kind of resent the comparison between Prince Andrew and Prince Harry because there is no comparison.
Prince Andrew's not been found guilty of anything yet. Questionable behaviour and relationship with the court, but that's not important.
I think, and maybe speaking from a slightly younger perspective.
Oh my God! Really? You did that? You went there?
I think it's not just Harry and Meghan, who, by the way, I think I would love to see them back in the royal family. I don't think it's something that they want, but I think Harry is such an asset to the royal family, and I think it does help to modernise and help them evolve. I love the Queen. I also recognise how important the royal family are and how much they mean to people and how much of an impact they can have on businesses and on charities. But I also do think that, especially in a time of austerity, for a lot of younger people, it does sit a bit uncomfortably with people to have a monarchy during this very difficult time. So I don't think that we can just put down the fact that the monarchy is losing favour or losing public support down to Harry and Meghan. Because actually I think a lot of young people do relate to Harry and Meghan much more, and they love Harry and Meghan.
Piers Morgan's take was that Harry should have gotten on bended knee and issued a proper grovelling apology to his father. Sit with that phrase for a second. Grovelling. Not an honest conversation. Not an apology if one was owed. Grovelling. The word choice matters because it tells you the frame going in. This is a naughty son coming back to beg forgiveness from a wronged family, not two adults trying to repair a relationship that a lot of people, including, by several accounts, the King himself, clearly want repaired. Here's what almost never makes it into these segments. Reporting from ITV's Talking Royals and others has suggested this reunion reflects Charles's own posture toward reconciliation, independent of whatever William's position is. That's a much more interesting story than Harry owes an apology. It suggests a father making a choice about his son that has nothing to do with satisfying a tabloid columnist's sense of justice. Then there's the line that Harry and Meghan spent 5 years enriching themselves in California by trashing their family. This is one of those claims that gets repeated so often it starts to sound like established fact instead of an interpretation. What actually happened in that period? A memoir, a docu-series, a and one sit-down interview with Oprah Winfrey. 3 pieces of content addressing specific named incidents over 5 years. Compare that to the volume of anonymous palace-sourced briefings against them in the same window, and ask yourself honestly which side has actually been doing the trashing. Now, I'll give credit where it's due. Nick Ferrari raised something worth sitting with: the comparison to Prince Andrew. He pointed out rightly that Harry's public statements about his experiences in the royal family don't compare to the reputational catastrophe of Andrew's association with Jeffrey Epstein. That's a fair point, and it's one I actually want to spend time on, because it exposes something uncomfortable about how scrutiny gets distributed in this story. Nick's argument that there is no comparison between Andrew's conduct and Harry's is correct. But notice what it also implicitly does. It treats Harry's on-record, named, first-person accounts of his own experience as being in the same category of damage as Andrew's conduct, just smaller in scale. One is a man describing his own life. The other is credibly alleged serious wrongdoing. Those aren't different sizes of the same thing. They're different things entirely. Morgan also raised the 2021 Oprah interview and the fallout from the allegation that a family member raised concerns about the skin color of Harry and Meghan's unborn child. He's right that the damage from that moment went around the Commonwealth, his words, not mine, and that it can't be undone by a later walk back. But here's what I want you to notice. That's Piers Morgan, a broadcaster who has spent years skeptical of Harry and Meghan, saying on live television that the damage was real, was global, and mattered. When even the critics concede that point, it's worth asking why it still gets buried under, but what about the 5 years of trashing the family? The National Centre for Social Research survey, only 51% now say the monarchy is quite or very important, got used in that segment as a cudgel against Harry and Meghan specifically. But Ashley
Hello,
Jones
Bella.
makes the point
How are you?
that deserves more airtime than it got.
Doing
Younger audiences
cleaning.
increasingly relate to Harry and Meghan more, not
I'm
less.
cleaning
And a
up.
lot of that softening in monarchy support
How are
tracks
you?
with broader disillusionment
You
about
good?
institutions during a cost
Happy
of
to
living
see you
crisis,
today.
not with anything Harry said in a memoir.
I'm actually doing
Correlation isn't causation, and
some
blaming 2 people
cleaning
who left the
because it's on a
institution for the
Saturday,
institution's declining popularity
being a very
is doing
lazy
a lot of
Saturday.
convenient work for people who'd rather
But
not
I'm
examine anything
equally
else.
happy that you joined
What
my life
strikes me watching this whole exchange
after
is how
a
much
long
effort goes into
hiatus.
keeping Harry cast as the
You've disappeared
destabilizing
from my
force,
channel for
even
for
in
quite
the
some
week
times.
where the
But I'm
actor
happy to see you.
muses a father
Thank you. I
and son
appreciate you.
sat in a room together.
I
Ashley
appreciate your
named it
coming
directly.
back.
She called it amazing news on a human level and pointed
Oh,
out Harry never
I'm
stopped
truly
his charity
sorry.
work, never stopped
Truly,
showing up
truly,
for
truly,
veterans
truly
during
sorry,
visits,
Bella.
never stopped doing the actual work of service titles.
I also thought something might
Now,
have
let's
happened
get
to
into the
you.
part of that panel that I think
I thought
reveals the
maybe
most about how this whole story is
work-related
playing.
issues,
The argument about titles and what counts as
because the last time we
intrusion,
talked, you said
depending on who's asking. The line was,
you'll be
Harry
taking off
renounced royal duty, but kept
because
the
of.
royal titles so he can continue to
Sorry,
make
sorry,
money
sorry.
out of being Prince Harry.
Equally here,
The Queen, we're told,
I'm
ran
going
a
through
strict
some
in-or-out
challenges,
system, and Harry is cherry-picking.
but it
Here's
will
the
be well.
quote,
And sorry
actually,
for the
once you
loss of
actually
your
wrote
dad.
it, instead of just repeating it.
What happened? He
Titles
got
by
sick.
birth and formal working royal status have never
Was
existed
he
in
sick?
this family. Princess Anne holds the title and does not draw funding from the sovereign grant for private ventures. Prince Andrew retained his title for years after stepping back from public duties under far graver circumstances than anything Harry has faced.
Sorry, take
And
heart.
nobody on that panel spent a second
You'll be
calling
praying
that
for
arrangement
your
having cake
strength and
and eating it
peace.
too. The
and healing too, because losing somebody so close, sometimes it traumatizes us. I can understand. I once lost my dad, and I know how it feels, particularly if you are close.
That's not a benefit
Kwani
sex
unaenda
trafficking through clever
church?
positioning. It's
Eh?
a fact of birth, the same
Tao?
as it is for literally every other family member who has ever kept a title while reducing public view.
I'm sorry
If the
for that.
standard is genuinely
Sorry for
no
that.
title without full-time service, that standard would need to apply consistently. It doesn't. It gets invoked only when Harry's name comes up. This is the exchange I want to slow down on, because it's the moment the whole segment nearly came apart. Piers Morgan was challenged directly. Essentially, you were one of the mouthpieces of the media intrusion Harry says drove them out. So what standing do you have to lecture him on privacy? And his answer was to pivot immediately.
Sorry
The
for
most
everything.
intrusive person into royal privacy ever has been Prince Harry. Think
How
about
is your channel doing?
made there. A
Has
memoir,
it
a docuseries,
has
one
it been
interview.
monetized?
That's the entire body of intrusion being cited. Compare that to decades
Emily Wabia, how are you? How are you, girl?
that Harry is
Welcome
still
back.
pursuing in court against
Welcome to my
and
channel.
columnists who have built careers commenting on the private lives of two people who left specifically to get away from that kind of scrutiny.
Oh, thank you, Emily.
First-person account of his own life intrusion, while treating the apparatus
Let me
that
give
hounded his
Emily
mother into Paris underpass as a separate,
a blue
unrelated
jacket.
matter. That's not a neutral use of the word intrusive. That's a redefinition of the word to mean things I don't want him saying, while the actual invasive conduct.
Thank you so much for joining my live.
Right now, quietly gets a pass.
It's just a lazy Saturday. I'm doing cleaning and I'm sitting down, having coffee, then I'm waking up. It's just one of those days, lazy ones.
There's a moment in that segment where Ashley James brings up Harry watching his
Maybe I got tired yesterday. I did a lot throughout the week. Maybe I just wanted to rest today.
Bringing up Diana in these conversations is genuinely uncomfortable for critics of Harry, because it draws a straight line between the media environment that existed then and the media environment Harry says he's been trying to protect his own children from now. It's much easier to argue about who's trashing the institution than to sit with the fact that being criticized for wanting privacy.
Yeah, I'm praying for that myself, but I'm almost inching closer. I want to get that YouTube check.
It's the through line. The same industry logic that produced the coverage of Diana in the 80s and 90s is the industry logic Harry has spent years in court trying to hold accountable. When you understand that, the he's the intrusive one argument doesn't just weaken, it inverts. I want to spend a minute on Ashley.
Emily Wabia, what are you saying? I'm happy. How is Indonesia?
First, Harry never stopped showing up. Whatever your read on the royal duty question, the Invictus Games has continued, veterans' mental health work has continued, and this year that includes the launch events for Invictus 2027 in Birmingham. That's not a man who renounced duty. That's a man who redefined which duty he was going to keep doing on his own terms, and has been doing it consistently for years without a formal title requiring it of him. Second, she flagged that a lot of younger viewers relate to Harry and Meghan more, not less, and that the monarchy's declining approval numbers are happening in a broader context of institutional distrust during a cost of living crisis. That's a much more honest read of the polling than Harry did this. Correlation dressed up unannounced meeting at Highgrove, continued charity appearances in the UK for Well Child and Scotty's Little Soldiers, the Birmingham launch for Invictus 2027, and all of this happening against the backdrop of the RevEx security review still unresolved. None of that reads like a man who's disengaged from Britain or from his family. It reads like someone rebuilding specific relationships and specific commitments deliberately, one at a time, while a legal and security fight over his ability to safely do any of this at all continues in parallel. That's worth sitting with. The Ravek dispute isn't a footnote to this story. It's arguably the actual obstacle standing between father and son at a private meeting and the family visits more regularly. You cannot separate the warmth of a Highgrove reunion from the cold procedural reality that Harry's UK security arrangements remain unresolved. And that unresolved status
Maziwa ya maziwa iko.
Wajafungua.
to all these moments happen. With Meghan, the children present too. Here's what I keep coming back to. Every single plane in that segment,
Yeah.
titles, the most impressive person
Niliona.
blamed for the polling numbers, falls apart a little more.
Nilibuy sukari ndio.
Actually look at
Yeah,
the
which-
specifics instead of the framing. Not because the panel is lying exactly, but because the assumptions doing the work underneath those claims have never been examined. Once you examine them, the story that's left standing isn't Harry damaged the monarchy. It's a father and son had a private meeting.
Ta.
An industry that profits from conflict between them didn't quite know what to do with a story that didn't have any.
Pendua hiyo mboga.
Do you think
Sawa.
the cake and eat it argument about royal titles actually holds up once you look at how it's applied to other family members? Or is it a standard invented specifically for Harry? Do you think Meghan's absence from these UK
Hiyo tu kulikuwa na moto. Sasa uliuza nililipa makaa na nikanunua sukari ya uji. Nikalipa sukari ya uji.
Everything in this segment,
Eh?
do you think reconciliation with the
Nimechukua
wider
makaa.
family, not just Charles,
Ilikuja like God sent.
or is the media environment itself the real obstacle?
Sisi
Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one of them.
alipokuja nikuambia ukimaliza kupanga.
If this broke down something you've seen circulating and felt like nobody was actually saying it out loud, do me a favor and hit like and share this with someone who needs to see it. If you haven't already, subscribe. There's a lot more of this coming. Until next time, family, take care of each other.
That is where it starts. For livelihoods, for economies, for communities. But climate change threatens our ability to improve systems impact the climate, and 1/3 of global greenhouse gas emissions. In 2025, we made progress by decarbonising in our own operations and across the value chain. We mitigated impact from our own operations by reducing greenhouse gas emissions in our own operations by 56% and bringing the share of renewably sourced energy to 97%. Our efforts were also acknowledged as we received an A- from CDP for forest and water security and a platinum medal from EcoVadis. We helped our suppliers mitigate impact, contributing to a 34% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in our total value chain.
Sawa. Shika.
Hello? Yes? I'm fine, niko poa. Hata anafungua saa hii. Anafungua tu saa hii.
What do you call the far right?
Mimi ndio niko kitchen na Shanchele. Mingo kitchen no Shanchele.
I'm not sure what the lowest suggestion is.
Well, I think it's quite funny is to like
Yes,
take the speech from Obama and Hillary, and then go to someone say who's sort of you know on the sort of what I call the lunatic left, and say, what do you think of the speech by Trump? I'm like, oh wow, he's the worst person ever. Actually, that was a speech by Obama, or actually that was a speech by Hillary.
I agree. No, I agree that the center of gravity in this country has shifted, certainly the Democratic Party shifted to the left, but that's not what I'm talking.
It's time for Lefties Losing It, and it's been some weeks since we heard from screechy Swedish doom goblin Greta Thunberg. She's lost all interest in the climate goal. These days, she's all about Palestine and Lebanon. Israel arming them in occupation, apartheid, and genocide in Palestine and Lebanon. And of course, she's still wasting police time, getting herself arrested time and time again. Now to the backlash against WNBA star Sophie Cunningham, who had the courage to say the following: I want to protect young girls in a locker room or young girls in sport who shouldn't have to go against biological men. How dare she? Among the outrage is Roberta Rodriguez, a writer for Forbes covering women's basketball, who wrote, Sophie Cunningham is unafraid to be blatantly transphobic. And she followed it up with this: transphobia includes invalidating a trans person's identity. Additionally, female assignment first people who identify as non-binary and don't transition are also trans. Okay, whatever. The Sophie Cunningham is not an intimidation. The girl has a backbone. She said what she said.
It's very common sense, and I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I'll always believe that.
And it's hardly controversial. It's what every athlete would say if they were being honest. But then you have Megan Rapinoe, who would have no sporting glory, no fame, no fortune if men were allowed to compete against her. And yet, she went on The View to say that wanting to protect women's sport is actually anti-women. And then she seemed to suggest that black women look suspiciously like men.
Yes, they're going after trans people in sports, and they're using it as a web issue because we love sports, and we don't want our little girls to be unsafe. But okay. But now we're using this as like an overarching thing, when really what we're attacking women. We're saying, if you look like this as a woman, you can play. We know what that means. Black girls are going to get questioned more. They're going to get questioned first.
Let's stick with The View, and Sunny Hostin never misses a chance to play the race card, and she has a brilliant new theory. She thinks the Trump administration is trying to bury America's dark past so they don't have to pay reparations.
I think the real reason behind this is about financial repair to the descendants of the enslaved Africans.
Say what you mean, and so you can say something. I understand that.
Reparations. I think this reflects a really broad effort by the Trump administration to reshape the way the nation's history is told, so that this country does not have to pay black people for the forced labor and the unpaid labor that built this country. I really think that's what this is about. They're trying to bury the truth part. You cannot have true reconciliation, and then you cannot have true financial repair.
They're trying to bury the truth. Sunny really, firstly, slaves did not build America, and do you really think America's en masse will ever support the concept of reparations? The lunacy of people who never owned slaves paying reparations to people who were never slaves. And if you want to talk about those who have
All right, I guess we're live. Okay, everyone. How's everyone doing? This is another sit down with Michael Francis, and as you can see, I'm not in my studio. Oh, where are they?
We're not on yet. Zero watching.
Okay.
So you don't need to talk.
We're not on yet. We have 68.
They're on. 89 people are on.
Okay. All right, here we are, everyone. Luckily, I got some help here. As you can see, I'm not in my studio. I'm actually in a cigar lounge here in St. Moritz in Switzerland, and many of you know I've
Eh,
been away for
Chubis
the
Jacka.
past week of my daughter's wedding. We had a
What?
great time. She was married this past weekend in Lake Como. It was a magical event, I have to say. Italy is beautiful. For all those of you who have never made it there,
kwa
I just
shamba.
hope and pray and wish that one day
Weka
you will. It was
jinsi
really
jaweka, nimeweka tu kwa
Now
mboga.
we're in Switzerland, and we've been here for the last 2 days. I got to tell you something, people. Switzerland is absolutely amazing. Every place you look, it's like a scene out of a postcard. It's really unbelievable. It's one of the most expensive, from what I found out, places in all of Europe. But the people are wonderful. We found out everywhere that we go. And
Tate brothers are back at it again. They're in Miami promoting a fight. And suddenly, while they're in Miami promoting a fight, what page is this on, by the way? While they're in Miami promoting a fight, it's a very different story. Social media influencers, Andrew and Tristan Tate, are arrested in Miami. And you see the video. I don't know if you have the video when they're going out there and arresting them. If you want to pull up the video of Tate, if you just type it on X, go on X, type in Tate arrest, you'll see the video while they pull up to him. And so Andrew and Tristan Tate were arrested Saturday in Miami after the UK sought their extradition on dozens of charges, including rape and sex trafficking. The Tates, who are brothers, millions of followers, you know, they're kind of promoting them on who they are and what they were. The U.S. Marshal Service, this is it, play the clip. To the U.S. Marshal, by the way. They said the arrests were made in accordance with the treaties and law enforcement agreement. Government and Justice Department extradition. The brothers are expected to make an appearance at a federal court early next week. I think the court today, 9 o'clock, they were at court. Their lawyer, Joe McBride, for the brothers, said they are innocent. Andrew and Tristan Tate will walk free. America does not do Britain's political dirty work. Not here and never. The UK's Crown Prosecution Service said it authorized 42 charges against Andrew Tate, who's 39 years old. Tristan Tate, 38, faced 17 charges. The service said there's a total of 7 alleged victims, and you know, they go into all these other stories. But the judge that they're facing, I believe today, I want to say the judge's name is Judge Lewis, I think, hardcore, level 10.
All roads have been barricaded. There's heavy police and security personnel deployment.
Delhi police appeals to all protesters to maintain peace, exercise restraint, and cooperate with the police in ensuring peace and public order.
There is no doubt that India's Popular Democratic Party is a true protest movement, not able to gather thousands of young Indians together. Something unprecedented that we have been witnessing after a long, long time.
Please, they're so peaceful. They're just asking for justice. What they make tear gas. This is
Over the next 10 minutes in the big story, we'll be on the ground in Delhi, where police have been cracking down on protests. We'll explore why millions of young people are taking inspiration from a cockroach, what exactly they're demanding, and how much of a threat they pose to the Prime Minister Modi's government. The story revolves around the Cockroach Janta Party, something which started as an online satirical movement but has grown into a serious political challenge. Well, this AI-generated image is part of the group's slick social media branding, which has helped attract millions of followers online. Our South Asia correspondent, Azadeh Mishiri, will guide us through your questions, starting with what is the Cockroach Party and why are thousands of young Indians calling themselves cockroaches?
So the name Cockroach Janta Party might be quite confusing for someone who's never heard it before, but it started about a month ago when the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court here in India referred to youngsters who drift towards social media and journalism as cockroaches. Now he insists his words were taken out of context, that he was referring to young people with vague degrees. But either way, it ignited this movement when Abhijit Dixit, a university student, started some social media account called Cockroach Janta Party, Cockroach People's Party, and it amassed millions of followers, more followers than the BJP's own social media accounts. That's the ruling party in India. And since then, it has become a protest movement that can gather thousands of
Hello?
of university places
Yes.
and jobs. A single exam can determine their entire
And you go
future.
50
So
salary.
this scandal has caused
Yeah.
nationwide uproar. But what do we know about the alleged exam leaks?
Well, the people we've spoken to say that the
Mhm.
Congress Democratic Party represents a lot of the general dissatisfaction and frustration amongst India's youth. The leak of a national entrance exam to medical colleges across India sparked a lot of anger. And for context, that is an extremely difficult exam, one that students can spend years studying for, and some families even pour their savings into that exam to help their children study for it, because they think that it could lift some of them out of poverty in a country where there aren't many opportunities. And this isn't the first time there have been alleged leaks of exams. There have been a number of controversies when it comes to the education system here, and that's why now students are demanding the resignation of the education minister as well as other reforms. They're also alleging, some families as well as the Congress Democratic Party, that 20 students took their own lives after the exam was leaked and after they were forced to resit those exams.
Well, the Cockroach Junta Party is mostly protesting over issues they have with India's education system. They're calling for the education system to be overhauled with greater accountability over the alleged exam leaks, and for the education minister to take responsibility and resign. But what else, though, are they demanding?
So the Congress Democratic Party has several demands, and they did meet with a government minister for the first time yesterday. Two senior members did. They are asking for the resignation of the education minister here in India. They're asking for an overhaul of the education system. They're also asking for financial compensation for the families who are saying that their children, about 20 students, took their own lives after the leak of the exam paper.